Yo, what up, ladies and gentlemen? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the divine masculine and the divine feminine. All right. So it's very simple, guys. The feminine is here to test you, to show you reflections on things that you need to work on. Whenever she's throwing a hissy fit, all right, whenever she is realizing you're a bit inadequate right now in a specific area, right? This is her saying that you need to step up and be in that vibration, that king vibration, that essence, that divine masculine essence that she knows that you have the capability of being. Okay? Now don't get it twisted, because sometimes these women will check you and run their mouths and just say things that are completely unnecessary, and that's when you have to hold frame and you got to check them. Okay? Because if they think they can get away with a bunch of things all the time, just running their mouths, thinking they're all that, and thinking they got control over you, they got another thing coming for them. All right? But do this respectfully. Okay? Every so often you might go off, you know what I'm saying? But definitely do it in a respectful way. Do not harm her. Do not hurt her. You know, we're not putting our hands on women. We don't do that shit. All right? Even if they do put their hands on us, men don't put their hands on women. Okay? I don't care if she deserves it. I don't really give a fuck. We just don't do that. Okay? Now, it's important that you check her every once in a while, because she's checking you. All right? She's going to test you. You got to also test her. Okay? Majority of the times, she's going to be throwing shit tests your way. Why? Because women are emotional creatures. And they're doing this primarily to see if you can swim through their waters. As a matter of fact, for some of them, that shit probably turns them on. Okay? They're going to shit test you the whole day, the whole night. And if you're able to keep composure, remain chivalrous, handle her shit tests, check her every so often, she's going to love you. She's going to adore you. She's going to love that shit. All right? That's what they want. Okay? Now, it's very important that we take note of everything that's going on in society today, all right? Because we got to look at what Universe A is showing us, okay? We got the P. Diddy situation. You got the Tory Lanez situation. You got the Chris Brown situation. You got the Cougars going after the young NBA players and so forth and so on. You got what I'm saying? You got the older men going to Thailand because they're incapable of basically dealing with the divine feminine on their playground. So they gotta go for easy shit, right? That's cool. Women are women everywhere you go. You got what I'm saying? Some women are Hathors, okay? Hathors are the whores, okay? They're literally designed here to provide love to the broken men, the broken souls. The Hathors were there when men would come back from battle. They would go visit the Hathors before going home to their wives. This was a whole different time. All right? And then you would have the Isis in the home. Okay, so these are the divine mothers. These are the women who want to be mothers in this realm. The motherly archetype. Okay? That a lot of men low-key probably really want. You know what I'm saying? It's usually the broken men, the men who have a lot of healing to do, that go for a bunch of Hathors. Okay, so you're going to see them running around with a bunch of different women all the time. You know, probably have 2 or 3 wives, etc., pushing the polygamous nature, which is cool. Everybody do your thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not judging. You feel me? But at the end of the day, we are all reflections of one another. Okay? The divine masculine and the divine feminine. The polarities, the positive and the negative charge. And what happens when they come together? They create a neutral charge. This is where the atom comes into place. And then life. So, honor and respect everybody. Men respect women, women respect men. Because in today's society, you see the detriment of what's going on. When you leave things unchecked, You let them run through you, like things fall apart because it's emotional. It's waves. It don't make no sense. You got what I'm saying? But just as easily, you need those emotional waves to bring forth some balance and some emotions into your reality. Because being overly logical and overly structured can actually be a detriment to you. And that's why the woman naturally provides chaos into a man's reality. Comes in and completely shapeshifts and dismantles and reconstructs everything. It's up to you to be the pillar in the house. All right? The pillar. You handle the responsibility, the discipline, the structure. That's what she's looking for. So when she gives you these tests, when she comes to you and she's giving you all this energy towards your way, right? She don't know why she's doing it half the time. She might say it's one thing, you know what I'm saying? The whole time it's a whole other thing, and you're just discombobulated in your mind. You gotta remember, it's not logical, and it absolutely makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. But she's there in their reality, or they're there, right? If you have multiple women, if you're able to handle that, right? You're gonna have to have a lot of, you know, testicular fortitude to handle more than one woman at a time. Okay? And to keep a strong composure in handling these things. And be honest, be forthright. Like if you're the type of man that knows that you're going to want multiple women in a dynamic, go ahead and say that as opposed to cheating. Now, we got all these side pieces out here. There's so many polygamous people out here, and they don't even know that they're polygamous. They're over here like, yeah, nah, like they have a side piece or whatever. Why even do that when you can just come forthright and be like, hey, I'm very likely going to have a concubine. Kings and queens had their concubines, right? It happened throughout history. Shows a statue of wealth, high testosterone, lots of discipline. If you're able to handle that, most people can't even handle one. And then, of course, there are the divine masculine who offer healing, right? And you would consider these the simps or the cucks, right? In any reality, right? If you're going to be with somebody for 20, 40, 50, or 60 years, it would make sense that at some point in that dynamic that y'all would explore different people and different things. It makes sense. You're naturally changing. You want new experiences and so forth and so on. And if you're not going to do that individually and you decide to do that together, then you're going to naturally have freak offs and do shit that you would not want to express into today's society. And for some people, that strengthens their relationships. Like, all of this might be unpopular to you guys. You guys are going to watch this and be like, yo, stick to the esoteric talk. But this is important. This is esoteric because this is what happens naturally. Like, you got to remember, we are beings of nature. We have specific nature. We like, men are literally designed to conquer. You want to have as many women, as many children as possible. That is the sign of a man that has conquered. Another way to do that is to have one woman with a lot of children. That is another way to conquer. And if you're going to want to live a life like that, then you're going to need to have that discipline that I'm talking about. And it's okay for y'all to understand that the dynamic in the relationship will change. Because I'm tired of seeing this gender war shit that's been put together by the far left, LGBTQ, LMNOP, all of that type of stuff. All right? That disorderly conduct in society. That's why we're having a correction right now. because the divine feminine did a full sweep. You get what I'm saying? She came in and did a full sweep. They've taken over everything: the music, politics, business, education. But if you really think about it, none of that stuff was meant for men to do in the first place. Designed to be doing the nitty gritty, going into the field, getting your hands dirty, building, farming. What the fuck are you going to do with a book? Now, I'm not saying don't educate yourself. Educate yourself. You want to be. This is a different day and age. I just meant in the past. That's what, we were on, right? But now we're in a whole different timeline. You want to be mentally there. You want to be physically there. You want to be spiritually in tune. You're not going to find your divine counterpart if you're not living in that way. And a lot of people are hurt. A lot of y'all out there, the men and the women, y'all are hurt. You're drowning away your sorrows. You're getting high, overly high. It's not making no sense. You're hurt. The first step is to acknowledge that you're hurt. You're not going to bring in or pull into your vortex that divine counterpart until you acknowledge the pain. Then you got to correct it. Course correction, that takes time because you're used to doing specific things to drown out all the sorrows, right? I usually clown people who are like, oh, I'm traumatized. And it is true, right? It is true, but that just means you can't handle it. I go through trauma all the time, but I don't wear it on my sleeve like it's a badge, like, yeah, I'm traumatized. Nah, shit happened. I'm dealing with it. I'm going to get over it. We got to keep it moving. We got things to do. We got places to be. We got things to build. You can let the woman go through all of that time. Let them, overanalyze and do all that. They're good at that stuff. All right? Now they're going into the education. Now they got better structures. They're building. They're smart. So what is this dynamic going to look like in the future? What are we going to be doing? Because they graduating at higher rates. But we're moving into a time where you can play a bunch of video games and make $1 gazillion, or you can just stream and show your life and get paid for it, right? So I guess it's cool to be educated. I think it is important. I think we need it. There's a lot of uneducated people running around here. I think it's important to know your his or her story, the story that has been indoctrinated and programmed into the DNA of most people out there. It's probably important to know about these locations and these places and what transpired there. When you step onto a piece of land, what are you really stepping into? These things are important. But ultimately, I'm saying this because we need each other. We need each other. The gender war thing got to stop. The race thing got to stop. All of it got to stop. But people are too hurt. They're too hurt. They're so hurt that they fail to realize that that's just a blip in the entire story. That there was so much more going on. And I suppose with time, that blip will cease to exist. And people will begin to realize that there's another blip that's been taking place. It's happening. A lot of people don't see it. The world is a global economy. Everything is interconnected. It is. Even though we're trying to solve a whole immigration problem and do the whole border thing and stuff like that, regardless, there's still going to be interconnectedness, tariffs and all of that type of stuff. It's still going to be an interconnectedness. Because everything comes from someplace. Something comes from nothing, right? Everything that you're utilizing is an accumulation of things that came from various locations and brought forth to you to utilize. A car, a phone. You didn't make that. Your house, did you build that? See, in the past, we used to do that. We used to know everything about what it is that we're doing. We were master alchemists. It's time to step back into that. It's time to end the division, the chaos, and the disorder. It's time. The past generation, cool. Y'all got it. But now, I don't give a fuck about none of this shit. Diddy, Cassie, both their music suck. Yeah, like they're freaky. You know what I mean? Only thing they need to convict this guy of is human trafficking if he really did that shit. I don't know. Sex trafficking, all that type of stuff. We'll see. And this is not to say that I agree with any of the behavior. I honestly think that all this stuff being presented to me via the illusion is ultimately stupid. All right? But I'm psychoanalyzing it because I'm trying to understand why it's being presented to me in my reality. I've seen men wrongfully imprisoned because of a woman's emotional nature, because there's been a lack of governance in the household. This is why semen retention is extremely important. This is a major key because y'all out here sticking your dick into anything that you see walking. You don't even know what the hell that shit is. You don't know what it's been eating. You don't know what it's been doing. All you see is a fat ass and dumb decisions, and you just want to dive right in. If you're going to be sharing energy with a different vessel, right, because we're electromagnetic beings, you're combining realities, you're combining entire universes and essences from the lowest molecule to an entire galaxy being formulated. You're creating stars, combustions. But we've been so polluted by pornography, and so many of y'all can't even control yourself. Like, you can't just see a nice ass and acknowledge it and keep it moving. You gotta go and gotta go hide in a corner in shame. Why don't you do that shit in public? It's shameful, right? The only time you should be stroking that thing between your legs is when you're sun gazing. There's a whole science behind it. And when you're not sun gazing, it's when you're in the process of creating another being. And if you're not doing that, then it's in the process of working your dantians, your meridian points, and your electromagnetic motors. The process of manifesting and creating. For women, it's a bit different. All right, because women, they can actually manifest and create things. They're not necessarily losing any energy when they do that type of thing. Matter of fact, they have 9 levels of orgasm. So yeah, they can enjoy themselves from level 1 to 3, but they're not going to get all the way to 9. But for men, you only go straight to the top of the mountain, and then you can see the sunlight. You can see all the views of all the worlds, entire kingdoms. But you're wasting all that energy. All of that. Now, I get it. It's natural. If you are going to do that, be smart about it and replenish those nutrients. Or you can observe, figure out some new moves, and keep it moving. But ultimately, to waste that energy is detrimental. We used to build families. We used to build kingdoms. Matter of fact, we still do. Your household is a kingdom. Every house that you own is a kingdom. Now we got the matriarchy, so let me include y'all. We got queendoms, and they all look different. All right, there's not an end-all, be-all. I know a queen. She got her vixens. She's out here providing a nice combination of a little bit of that Hathor energy with that Isis energy and overall healing essence. Shout out to the goddess. You know who she is, the rat priestess. But it's time that we honor each other. We give praises and we give cheers for each reflection. And we got to stop attacking one another. We got to stop. That's what the reflection in Universe A is showing me. All these people. They're all lost, man. And the more you continue to watch these people do their thing, so we literally just watched an entire man have his empire basically crumbling, like it's crumbling right before our eyes because of a lack of composure, high amounts of testosterone leading to that. It makes sense. I get it. I completely understand why. That's a king. You may not agree with it, but how many of you got the energy to do that for 5 to 6 days straight? My point exactly. So this is a reality shift. Everything is changing. From the genders, from the races, from the politics. Everything is being revealed right now. Tribe up. Stop wasting your energy and your time on unnecessary things. Pay attention to the traumas that arise. Why are you damaging yourself? Why are you constantly intoxicating yourself? Why are you getting high? And what are you running from? What is it, really? Why are you doing these things? What good does it do to you? Now, I understand why some people would take substances, right, to be fully calibrated and to keep going. Some of them are natural, some of them are man-made. Pick your poison. We're on this plane, and we're here to experience it. But remember, you have a very powerful machine that you're utilizing. That is a vehicle, that is your vessel, that is your body. And you are a soul utilizing that body. So you want to take care of that body. Because without the body, you're not going to be able to be here for much longer. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Like, subscribe. I know this video was a little bit all over the place, but this is just me ranting on the current state of Universe A, Universe B. But ultimately, the divine masculine, the divine feminine reflection of everything that I'm seeing. All right? It's time. It's all a game. How can you play with it? All right? It's all a game. You are here to play and get paid for it. You're literally seeing it now. People are playing video games and making thousands of dollars. They couldn't do that before. Have fun. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Sit with yourself. Honor yourself. And when you take a breath, breathe with intention. Live consciously. That's my message for y'all. I hope you guys have an abundant and prosperous day. Once again, like, subscribe, share. It really does tremendous for this YouTube channel. I appreciate all of you guys, and I hope to connect with you guys soon. Peace.